Hello, everyone. I'm Mr. Villarengo, Palma's Vice Principal, and on behalf of the administration, faculty, and staff, I want to welcome you to the graduation ceremony for the Palma High School class of 2020. This is a unique ceremony, one unlike any Palma has held before, but this is a unique class, one of the most talented I've had the pleasure to know. We are grateful to all of those who have worked hard to make this ceremony memorable and meaningful, a well-deserved celebration of a group of young men of uncommon character, young men devoted to knowledge, service, and leadership, traits we need now more than ever. We begin our ceremony with our national anthem, uniting us in hope and resolve during these challenging and tumultuous times. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Jim Micheletti, Palma's Director of Campus Ministry.
Maybe, just maybe, it's true what the poet said. In the dark time, the eye begins to see. What have we seen in the Palma family during this time of coronavirus? We've seen tons of blankets, tarps, and clothing donated for the homeless. We've seen tons of food and goods donated to our farm workers. We've seen goods donated to those in quarantine. We've seen meals delivered, letters written to prisoners confined in shared cells 6 feet by 8 feet, and steadfast prayers for the deceased and the suffering, and in support of doctors, nurses, and medical professionals. We've seen prayers and backing, too, for custodians keeping shared spaces clean and industry keeping us fed. We've seen and heard prayers and collective action for the unemployed and the underemployed, the stressed and the scared. We've seen administrators, teachers, parents, and you, the class of 2020, working conscientiously to light candles rather than curse the darkness. And we've learned adversity can ignite student creativity online. We've learned where cowards curse and condemn, heroes contribute with compassion. Class of 2020, your years as chieftains have been marked by loyal contribution, like sunlight, really, beaming into this blessed Edmund Rice Chapel. Dear people of Palma, thank you. And to the graduating class of 2020, may you always see yourselves answering some of life's most persistent and Christ-like questions. How can we help here? And how can we transform pain into possibility? In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, bless this class of 2020 with a more perfect vision of your unconditional love. We celebrate you And may you, men of character, always see that a loving heart is the truest wisdom. May you challenge racism with understanding, and justice and vulgarity toward women with respect and gallantry. Advancing in life for all life, may you ask as St. Augustine did, not for a lighter load, but for stronger shoulders. May you gentle the world from your strength, and may you forever bless in word and deed from the blessings you've received. Amen. Blessed Edmund Rice, pray for us and live Jesus in our hearts forever. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you Father Ron Shirley, Palma faithful and loyal friend to our school for so many years. I have a really wonderful memory of Father Ron when he was the pastor at Resurrection Church in Aptos. Walking up to Resurrection, I was greeted by a homeless man, a friend of Father Ron's who was working for the parish. That has always stayed with me, Father Ron, to be inclusive and generous to all God's people. Father Ron will now give the graduating class of 2020 a very special blessing. Thank you so much, Father Ron.
Gracious God, surround those who are graduating with your grace. Bless them with hope so that they may move into the future with eager and open hearts. Help them to put the knowledge, skills, and insights gained through their education to use for the good of all humankind. Inspire them to believe in the goodness of life, even when faced with challenges and difficult times. As they commence with their lives, may they grow ever more grateful and wise. We ask this blessing for them in the name of Jesus. And I'd ask you to bow your heads for this very special Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you, graduates, in the palm of God's hand.
I am pleased to introduce the salutatorians of the class of 2020, Isaac Paulo and Wade Rianda.
Good morning and welcome family, friends, teachers, mentors, and members of the class of 2020. We feel so honored to welcome Brother Dunn for his last graduation, Mr. Sullivan, our principal, and the rest of the amazing people who have been so influential in getting us all to this point, the end of our journey together.
This has been a unique year for the class of 2020, to put it mildly. But the time in which we have been separated these past few months has allowed us to really reflect on and appreciate the path we've all walked. From redefining prison ministry to winning a pizza party for our Algebra 1 IXL achievements, it's hard to think of another group of young men who have managed to accomplish such a diverse set of challenges in one go.
Wade and I, like many in this class, started out in 7th grade. I started by embarrassing myself on the first day.
And I never let incubating Isaac live it down.
Although I don't think anyone is particularly proud of how they started here, what we've come to realize is that that first step, that reach and often tumble into the unknown, was where we first came together. We learned that everyone on this invisible stage was just as anxious about this new place and these new people as we were, and that we weren't and aren't alone.
For many, it was second nature to work with our brothers. Many came in large groups of friends from the same school. But for others, it took more time to develop their sense of brotherhood and find their space within it. The 2016-2017 freshman basketball and football teams wasted no time winning league championships. But some other teams, like JV water polo and tennis, would need some years to build and rebuild their teams.
And while brothers were bonding on the field, in the pool, and on the court, they were also working together in the classroom. From Mr. Carnazzo's incredibly intense U.S. history lectures to Mr. Corner's somewhat less intense government lectures, from Dr. G's seemingly impossible chemistry exams to Mr. Doherty's back meditations, to the largest Calc BC class in Palma history with Mr. Christensen and our class of 2020's historic online final senior quarter, our class shared many unique yet uniting experiences, whether we wanted to or not.
And with these experiences came the fruits of the chieftain's labors, academic, athletic, and altruistic. Our class is seeing many students go to the top schools in the nation. We have future engineers, nurses, architects, U.S. Army soldiers, and much more. We have all-stars in football, scholarships in baseball and lacrosse, and first-team all-leaguers in water polo. We have students who have taken the mission of Blessed Edmund Rice to heart and let it shine through their Palma experience and service.
Of the many things that bind us, the continued passion and dedication shown by this class towards the community came to define how we look at our world. From small things like picking up trash left around the cafeteria to cleaning up our beaches, we have shown and continue to show the world that we aren't just passive observers. We, the Palma Brotherhood, go to comfort those with Alzheimer's, to humanize prisoners, to build houses for those in need, to donate food to farm workers, and sometimes to just clean cat cages at the local animal shelter.
For a class of less than 100, the thousands of hours we have contributed to the community shows the true strength of our collective action. Despite our relatively small size, the community knows us. For many, just hearing you're a Palma chieftain is a sign of your character. It means you're willing to go out of your way to help others, and that you can be counted on.
But a school is only as exceptional as its students. We, the class of 2020, have made an immeasurable impact on the people around us, and that has been felt and is still felt in the hearts of those we've helped. It has made us compassionate young men who understand the fortune we've been graced with and give that back to the community.
Our class has done some remarkable things. But aside from sports, academics, and helping others in Salinas and beyond, we've been building our own community on campus. In fact, those things were integral parts of the bonding that our classmates have had. We call it the brotherhood. And while I think it began as sort of a joke, it has proven itself true.
Spending 4 or 6 years with any group is bound to make you some friends. But something about Palma, something about the small class size, something about the culture, something about the people, makes it so that those friends that you're bound to make are going to grow very close to you, far closer than you could have ever imagined on the first day.
And just when you think you've found plenty of brothers, you grow closer to more and more as you branch out into different groups. And soon enough, you find that you've built strong relationships with most of the class without even realizing it. And if you're like me, you wish that you could go to school with these brothers you've made forever. I already miss you. But now comes the time to celebrate you, brothers of 2020, and thank you for the time that we've shared.
It's been a long time coming. Although on the surface, this seems to just be the end of high school, in reality, it's the end of our old lives and the beginning of our new ones. No matter what path we choose, every one of us is preparing to go to new places, to meet new people, and to find our ways in life. To those who helped us get here, our amazing families, friends, teachers, and mentors, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the class of 2020. To the class of 2020, I say thank you and good job. You've really outdone yourselves.
Next, a distinguished graduate, Dominic Nolly, will introduce our commencement speaker.
There's a lot to talk about today's keynote speaker. In fact, there's probably too much to say in too little time. She's very accomplished in many aspects of her own life. She's an inspiration and a role model to how I live my own. I'm in fact talking about my own mother and the District Attorney of Monterey County, Janine Paccioni. My mom is as resilient as they come. She never stops working and always pursues her goals to the fullest. It's a common occurrence for her to leave the house early mornings, before I even wake up, and come home late at night after a long day of work. She's committed to the pursuit for justice, and nothing less. And that's just her job. I haven't even mentioned her big involvement with Rotary Club, NCL, Junior League, and many other organizations. However, above all, she is a great mother. With all the other things going on in her life, she always seems to have time for me and my brother, whether that meant taking us to our soccer tournaments on weekends, or staying home from work to take care of us when we were sick. She taught us many lessons, She would always preach to us the importance of choices, how every choice had a consequence, whether good or bad, and how it was our responsibility to make good choices in life. It is no wonder why, after 18 years of guidance from her, that I am here today, graduating and going off to college. That is why it is my honor to introduce her today, Janine Paccioni.
Hello, everybody, and congratulations to the class of 2020. We are living in extraordinary times. What has been our normal in terms of expectations and daily living activities has now been turned upside down. Most of you seniors were born during the year of the 9/11 attack, the year of the deadliest assault on U.S. soil since the bombing of Pearl Harbor that launched the U.S. into World War II. In the days, months, and years following the events of 9/11, our nation still works to move past that tragedy. The impacts of that event fundamentally changed and continue to change our habits, customs, and practices even today. These changes occur on larger scales, such as the impact to international relations, and on smaller scales, such as our recent requirement to get new driver's licenses in order to travel by air. Our names are in databases and are cross-checked to determine if we are approved to board a commercial airline. These changes and so many more are as a result of 9/11. But despite these changes, our daily lives have persevered. So too, we will adapt to the changes brought on by the current pandemic. When I think of the opportunities ahead of you graduates, I can only do so with optimism. I am comforted by the words of Abigail Adams, written to her son, John Quincy Adams, in 1779, that might offer a bit of encouragement. These are the times in which a genius would wish to live. It is not in the still calm of life or the repose of a Pacific station that great characters are formed. The habits of a vigorous mind are formed in contending with difficulties. Great necessities call out great virtues. When a mind is raised and animated by scenes that engage the heart, then those qualities, which would otherwise lay dormant, wake into life and form the character of the hero and the statesman. Graduating from high school during a pandemic could not be described as the calm of life or repose of a Pacific station, but you all have the tools you need to move into your future with a brave heart. Over the past 4 years, Palma High School teachers, advisors, coaches, administrative staff, ministry, its families, and even your fellow graduates have gifted you a foundation that will allow you to succeed. Each of you in your own unique way has grown spiritually, intellectually, physically, and socially. Each of you evolving from a boy of promise to a man of character. The work you have put in at Palma has taught you that you are part of something greater than yourselves, that your efforts and words matter, have meaning, and are impactful. Martin Luther King said, "All men are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." I am going to give you 3 pieces of unsolicited advice. The first is to make good choices. My job as the district attorney exists because of people making bad choices. You will be challenged by many attractive but negative influences which could derail all of the effort and success that you have achieved to date. Some of the choices start out small, but the reality is one bad decision often leads to 2 and snowballs. Palma has taught you the tools you need to make those choices. Have courage to do the right thing. My second piece of advice is to write your own script. Take responsibility for your life. Grab opportunities. Do not live your life on cruise control. You determine what you want to do and do it. Do not apologize for wanting to achieve more or for following your dreams. My wish for you is to live your life with integrity and blaze your own trails through hard work and perseverance. My third piece of advice is to give of yourself to others. You get back what you give, but you should never Do so with the expectation of getting something in return. Palma has taught you the meaning of servanthood. You will always benefit from doing the right thing for the right reason. You will soon be headed off to college or career, and this is no small achievement, but it is a responsibility. Hank Aaron was not only a great ball player, but he was also, if you knew his story, a man of great courage. Aaron said, "What you do with your life and how you do it is not only a reflection on you, but on your family and all the institutions that have helped to make you who you are. You are all Palma chieftains. As you move forward, reflect well on your family, on Palma, but most of all, reflect well on yourself. Congratulations and good luck."
And now for the presentation of our graduates, with names read by Palma's Director of Student Activities, Mr. Nick Naroyan.
Hudson Allen Wood. Isaac Eugene Paulo. Wade Francis Rianda. Alexander Aurelio Andrade. Danny Daniel Andrade III. Quentin Andrew Ariano. Lucas Barba. Matthew David Bassetti. Jonathan Michael Baring. Jack Thomas Vanessa. Simon Ren Bosch. Luke Brigantino. Jack Edward Bush. Daniel G. Cabrera. Jordan Joseph Calamea. Christopher Evan Campos. Daniel Ryan Carbonell. Mateo Adan Carlos. Joseph Raymond Castaneda. Adam Brandon Castro. Isaiah Dylan Corpus. Vincent Salvatore Crivello. Michael Anthony Colcazzi. Daniel Serrano Dominguez. Benjamin Joseph Eastman. Michael Brent Eastman Jr. Abel Escobar. Alberto Carlos Espinosa. Sean Neil Fano. Giovanni Fernandez Alvarez. Daniel Joseph Fitzgerald. Giuseppe Roberto Salvatore Flores. Anthony Carl Fries. Joseph Michael Costello. Dane Van Pelt Golden. Colby Nolan Gooder. Ramon Felix Guzman III. Nathaniel Joseph Haro. Jacob Lee Herbst. Joshua Hernandez. David Dat Wynn. Matthew Josiah Isaias. Aiden Rico Juarez. Jack Thomas Kirk III. Joshua James Kittle. Carson Bryce Cookta. Aiden Thomas Lafferty. Salvatore Lopez. Benjamin James Lucasco. Thomas Adam Lundy. Michael Paul Macias. Austin Joseph Martinez. Isaiah Martinez. Faraz Maher Masarwe. Donovan Richard Maccabee. Henry Lawrence McKelvey. Luke McCormick McKenzie. Jaden Michael Mendoza. Daniel Munoz. Dominic Justin Nale. Gabriel Alexander Nale. Sion Allen Newson Green. David Edward Nino. Micah Servano Olivas. Shivam Bakul Panchal. Ethan James Pavlik. Joseph Robert Paini. Samuel Jeffrey Pry Henyon. Jacob Carl Reinhardt. Emmanuel Josiah Rubicava. Everardo Ruiz Contreras. Stephen Chad Saeed. Isaiah Renee Saldana. Daniel M. Santos. Jacob Alexander Serrano. Prabjot Singh. Philip Daniel Seitz. Nicholas James Slater. Jake Andrew Strong. Anton David Michael Strasser. Adrian Benjamin Suniga Jr. Kyle Joseph Sutherland. Julian Torres. Matthew Trujillo. Nathan Benjamin Sushia. Abram Kane Valdez. Richard Alexander Vasquez. Jose Angel Velasquez Jr. Anthony Julian Villegas. Robert David Weisberg, Jr. Tyler Miguel Whitehead. Benjamin Anthony Wood. Kakoa Akira Yasuda.
I am honored to introduce the valedictorian of the class of 2020, Hudson Wood.
Greetings, Brother Dunn, Mr. Sullivan, beloved family, friends, and most of all, my classmates, Palma's graduating class of 2020. The last day, huh? Seems a little surreal for all these years to come to a close in such an abrupt manner. I remember watching my first Palma graduation. My 7th grade self was sitting toward the back of Sherwood Hall's stage with the band, watching the red caps and gowns bobbing up and down as the class of 2015 seniors walked across the stage to receive their diplomas and bask in the applause, hoots, and the occasional air horn blast of the hundreds of spectators in the crowd. Even though I knew less than 3 of the names of the students graduating, there was something special about having walked the same halls for an entire year with them. There was something about being part of the Palma Brotherhood together. The bonds of brotherhood I have developed with you guys are so much greater, though. I think one of the biggest contributors to this fact is that we have been through so much together. Through dissecting sharks that made the classroom stink for weeks in Mr. Henry and Mr. Carleen's biology classes, to giving quick peer quizzes the period before vocab tests in Mr. Sterrett's class, and the hours upon hours of studying together for our most difficult tests in Mr. Moncure and Mr. Christensen's math classes. Altogether, we've grown as a unit. In the end, we extensively expanded our vocabularies and could actually stomach the stench of a dead shark drenched in chemicals. I remember one of the most prominent obstacles we faced at school a couple years ago was the B-Wing restroom being closed for months. And if we wanted to use the restroom, we had to walk all the way to the A-Wing, taking away our precious lunch or passing period time. And even at the beginning of the year, it seemed like a big deal when we were forced to park on the street because our parking spot, a glorious spot that we had patiently waited 4 years to obtain, was occupied. These challenges we faced seemed like substantial problems at the time, but now, especially in light of current events, those issues seem so trivial, mere hiccups along the way, as we learn that we do have what it takes to succeed in the face of adversity. Looking back at my experiences at Palma, one of the largest sources of fortitude I've witnessed, other than our teachers and administrators dealing with teenage boys on the daily, is in Soledad Correctional Training Facility. If you aren't familiar, Palma's weekly trips to CTF Soledad merged 2 groups that most likely would have not otherwise met: young men from a private school and convicted felons, to gather in a safe setting and to discuss topics of morality and to better each other. Seeing some of our brothers in blue, their accomplishments, and the hardships they have endured and endure every day just go to show the limits of what we as humans can accomplish. They are an inspiration to me every day to be the best person I can be, even when in bleak conditions. In many ways, due to the stay-at-home order, we've all become prisoners of sorts, having had freedoms we took for granted taken away. But, like the men we meet with in Soledad Prison, our class too remain men striving to better ourselves and those around us. For some students, online school meant taking on new responsibilities, like taking care of younger siblings for the entire day, while continuing to keep up with school and personal needs. We've stayed connected, whether it's Jack Bush's uplifting and motivational reminder to keep on going on social media, including his spin on the popular web series Some Good News, or Jordan Calamia's end-of-the-year ode to his toasts, a reminiscent reminder of our time doing classwork and analyzing literature in our English classes. Altogether, it strengthened the lifelong bonds between us all. We're prepared to lead and serve. During online classes, various students led the student body in the morning's daily prayer, and many of the young men in our class have helped those who are unemployed or struggling due to coronavirus by donating food, time, and money, and are standing up for what they believe in. In our current circumstances, sure, we have been denied commemorative rites of passage, experienced disappointment, and our plans have been canceled. But one thing that hasn't been canceled is our courage. Looking back, we will remember our current situation and see it simply as a blip on the radar, something insignificant in the grand scheme of things. More importantly, looking back on it will remind us of the fortitude innate in every single one of us. Whatever crazy thing, big or small, the world throws at us in the future, I know that we can take what we've learned about life and ourselves to successfully adapt to face our problems and become even more well-equipped to take on future challenges. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the principal of Palma, Mr. David Sullivan.
Good afternoon, President Brother Dunn, honored speaker, Ms. Paccioni, guests, parents, family, and friends, my colleagues, the faculty and administration, and young men of Palma High School's class of 2020. Amid the most challenging of society's issues besieging us at the present time, I want only to offer you two certainties, a belief and a hope. First, I believe our graduates have learned the hardships and the triumphs of hard work during their time at Palma, that both dignity and character are formed with a good day's work. I believe that Palma High School, steeped in the traditions of an Edmund Rice Christian Brother education, has borne influence among our graduates on the importance of solidarity with the poor and the marginalized, the incarcerated, the hungry, the destitute, the lonely, that volunteerism, that service, that caritas is the charity with which church and society experience renewal and rebirth. Service to others is the very best foundation for true and lasting joy. I believe that. I believe that during these last 3 months, especially, the challenges that have confronted you at an age in your life that is far beyond uncommon are unfair. They are painful. Perhaps they are even beyond the scope of our human comprehension, but I believe in you. I believe your resilience. I believe in your positive attitude and in your leadership, which are much needed now and in times ahead of us. The second certainty I wish to share with you today is that I also have hope. I have hope in the class of 2020. This community, our country, needs young men like the class of 2020, and I have hope in you. You men have been blessed abundantly with the talent, the intellect, and a solid education to move on from here well prepared. Prepared to influence our communities, prepared to give where necessity requires, prepared to stand in solidarity with the poor and the marginalized, prepared to champion peace and justice, prepared to be highly successful, smart, and very generous leaders in both the church and in society. Class of 2020, I have hope in you, our leaders for tomorrow. Today, dear graduates, we celebrate your achievements and we send you forth better prepared to work hard for the future. Thousands of Palma students before you have done so also. You are your family name, and today you are a Palma High School graduate. Don't ever shame either one. Be a leader. Be a Palma chieftain. God bless you, class of 2020. And now I would like to present to you the model of true leadership here, a man without whose vision and loyal friends the very beauty of Palma's campus and its state-of-the-art facilities would not be possible. He has given his life to these hallowed grounds. Join me in honoring a Christian brother, my predecessor, and our president of Palma, Brother Patrick Dunn.
Faculty and staff of Palma High School, parents, family, friends, and members of the Palma High School class of 2020. welcome. I'd like to begin my few comments today by thanking two important parts of the Palma family that have done so much to help make this day happen. I'd like to thank, first of all, the parents for your gifts of time and self and fortune for your trust in and support of Palma over the years. You've made a difference not only in the preparation of your son for life and beyond, but also in the growth of Palma as an excellent, strong, well-rounded college prep school. Thank you very, very much. I'd like to thank our principal, David Sullivan, and the faculty of Palma for their countless hours of teaching, preparing, correcting, advising, coaching, mentoring, being there, being everywhere, to make a difference in the education of these young men. These are the folks who made distant teaching truly distant learning these past 2 months. Thank you very much for a job well done. Graduation is a special day for all of us as we celebrate two important aspects of life for a special group of young men. A completion of a task started 4 years ago, and the beginning of something that is new and unknown in a scary world. A lot has happened in the world and at Palma over these past 4 years. Who would have guessed a global pandemic would affect our daily lives as it has these past 3 months? These young men will, at the very least, respond, I pray, in a positive manner to the challenges that will come upon them as they leave a safe and secure place in a time of doubt and heavy issues facing all of us. When these young men first met as the Palma High School class of 2020, back in August of 2016, there were 111 bright-eyed freshmen, eager to make their mark on the school and the neighborhood. What a class. Academically, athletically, musically, spirit-wise. This class has embraced their brotherhood as a class and set the bar high for those who will follow. We have 93 graduates going on to bigger and better things in a wide variety of new and exciting possibilities. As a graduate of an Edmund Rice Christian Brothers School, each of our graduates has been challenged to grow and respond to Palma's Esslers, to our expected school-wide learning results, to develop spiritually and morally, intellectually, physically, and socially. These are truly Palma's exit hallmarks as exhibited in the capstone projects. It is my expectation that there be 3 special requirements of each of our graduates that he is aware of his duty. Number 1, to promote concern and care for the poor and those on the margins of society. Number 2, to speak up for and defend those who are powerless. And number 3, to be an advocate for peace and justice. How can each graduate respond to those challenges? To continue working on developing an appreciation of his God-given gifts, as this is a lifelong task. To make it a focal point of your manliness to always respect yourself and others, especially women, including your mother, your sister, your girlfriend, and eventually your wife and your children. And to also use your talents for the benefit of others by giving back to your family, to your community, to your high school, to your college, to your place of worship, to your God. Realizing these 3 challenges can carry the risk of putting one beyond their comfort zone, and that's just the point. These are the hallmarks of social justice and love of your fellow human beings in 2020 and beyond. These are the hallmarks of brotherhood. These are the hallmarks of Palma. The graduates are well prepared at this point to continue developing their minds and talents in a quest to know who and where and how you can respond to the calls of the voiceless, the powerless, and the helpless. It isn't a question of if you'll be in a position to make a difference in our community. It's only a question of when. Leave the community in a better condition, one day at a time, than it was when you began the day you have done so well here at Palma. Using your God-given talents to build up, not tear down. You've done a remarkable job in building up. As graduates of Palma High School and Edmund Rice Christian Brothers School, I'm very proud of you. I welcome you to the long and distinguished list of Palma alumni. You, Palma's 66 class of graduates. Congratulations to the Palma High School class of 2020.